doggy. A doggy. A doggy. A doggy.
Ah, here we go.
Doggy. A doggy.
Oh, man.
It's a doggy. A doggy.
Oh, goodness. First stream. Hello, everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den. Ah, Orange, yes. I am, of course, joined by my most adorable co-host, Nora, journeyman storyteller and initiate to the Seventh Circle of Lore. Also, you may want to turn your headphones down just a little bit, just in case. Hey, hello, little one. Practicing flurry of blows, I think. Oh, little one. Ah. How is everybody tonight? Ah, Dizzy666, Jackie and Lewis. Hello there. Good to see you. Ah, how's everybody out there doing tonight? I don't really have anything planned for this live stream. I just wanted to do it, have a chance to chat with everybody and anybody who wanted to jump in on this. So, please, throw out some questions there. I'm more than happy to participate and engage in the conversation, or just whatever ends up happening, even if it's a toddler beating me for a few minutes straight. Oh my goodness. Ah, well then. How is everybody doing tonight? Although, right now, it's just the one viewer. Ah. I'm going to shift a few things around here. You'd think I'd be better prepared, but, well, this is a learning experience, first time for everything, and, well, here we go. You're, of course, absolutely right, little one. I should have been more thoroughly prepared than this. Well, c'est la vie, as they say. C'est la vie. Let's see here. One or two people messaging me, asking me about how to get to the live stream here, because that's how well prepared I am. Let's see. So, what is everybody up to tonight? Ah, yes. Question here from Josh Glover. I heard you cheated on your GM guide with a player's guide. Is this true? Repeatedly and often. But I don't know how much it counts as cheating since I usually have them both going at the same time. Oh my god, I am so lame. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Isn't she a sweetheart? Oh my goodness. Do you have anything to tell the folks out there, Nora? Important and inspiring stuff. Yes, I use the GM guide and player's guide frequently. I mean, how can you not? Indeed. Ah, this is excellent quality stuff happening here. Premium entertainment. Yeah. Yes, little one. There's a few people watching us right now. You say hello?
Hello.
Oops.
Sorry.
You're okay. We got a little bit of otter pop everywhere, folks. Well, thrilling stuff. I suppose I should tell a story. And this one's a fairly recent thing that happened. Was playing 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons online. It's a game that's had a handful of sessions so far. And one of my friends had made a monk, a gnome monk. Not particularly great physical stats, but it's been a fun character nonetheless. And we had this little, I guess you'd call it a mini boss encounter. One of the another player, Istrin, chaotic good tiefling paladin, dedicated to Selûne. You okay? Well, dedicated to Selûne, and she had gotten into a fight with her brother. She's estranged from her family. They're dedicated to the goddess Shar, goddess of evil, murder, shadows, in Faerûn. And through the fight, the monk kept doing these aerial attacks, running up things, leaping off, and dropping down on this tiefling fighter. And at one point he goes, "I'm going to drop the people's elbow on him," and just wham, nailed him. Critical hit, did damage, crushed in his throat, ended the encounter right there. But from that point on, nobody could really get out of their heads the idea of this monk being like a WWF wrestler or a luchador. And of course we ran with luchadors because luchadors just so much cooler, I think. And so now we're turning this into this whole thing where this ancient monastery of these powerful monks with this ancient martial tradition. You're welcome. All trained like luchadors and WWF wrestlers. And craft these incredibly intricate... Oh? Go get it. They craft these incredibly intricate personas. They stylize their equipment and gear and their attacks around whatever theme they might have. And it just turned into this whole thing where even the masks that they put on... You did not break it. Don't you worry, little one. Well, anyways, you get the idea. It is a monastery of luchador gnome monks. And it has been just endlessly fantastic since we come up with this idea. It's great. Another one from Josh Glover here. Also, would you prefer a bard or sorcerer in your personal group without a proper mage? Really, that's hard to say. Honestly, it just kind of depends on the group. Really, I don't have much of a problem with whatever the group composition is. Even if the party wanted to do all bards, I'd roll with it and come up with something for that. Even if it's not what I originally had in mind. No, we have to wait a little bit. Even if it's a story idea that's not in the direction I had in mind, well, then you know, just roll with whatever the group is doing as well. So if I had to pick between bard or sorcerer, I'd say I guess sorcerer. From a mechanical standpoint, sorcerer has access to a wider variety. Well, not access to a wider variety of spells. They get more spells per day than the bard does. Maybe not as broad a spell list as, say, a wizard can have at any given point in time, but the bard has a certain amount of versatility that the sorcerer does not. A sorcerer, great at spell casting. Not too much else in most instances, especially for 3rd edition, 5th edition, and Pathfinder. But the bard's not bad at melee, bard's not bad at archery or spell casting. They get plenty of incredible options, and this doesn't even factor into bardic performances. So yeah, these whatever ends up happening is just what ends up happening, and if the group can survive whatever I throw at them, then great. And of course, like I said, I adjust to kind of meet what the group expectations are, whatever group idea or theme they have. That's what I will try to cater to somewhat, whatever my original idea might have been. It's better to adjust to what the players are doing. That flexibility is massively important. So that was a very long-winded way of going about that question. Good question, though. Thank you, Josh. Oh my goodness. So, how about the rest of you? Have you been playing in any interesting games or had anything fun happen? Or do you even have a good story? I'm more than happy to relay it or comment on it, give feedback. Do you have any questions or want any insights? I'm more than happy to help.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do.
yes, you got another popsicle. Look at her go.
Papa.
So adaptable and self-sufficient.
Papa. Papa.
It is purple, yes.
Pink. Pink. Pink.
Ah,
Pink. That pinks. Pink. Pink.
let's see.
Mm.
Oh, this is thrilling stuff today. Oh, goodness. Someday down the line, I'm going to look back on this particular stream and go, oh my god, this was so sad.
Thank you.
But, you know,
Thank you.
this little one's made it a little bit cuter, I think. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well then. Just keep working away here. I've been entrusted with a legendary artifact. And now it has been stolen back away from me. Oh. Ah, goodness. Well, this will teach me a lesson about being a little bit more prepared and having just random things to talk about. I don't exactly have the widest audience or highest number of audience members, and man. Well, this is something that should have never been attempted, I think.
Ananas?
I think I'm going to go ahead and close this out here, end the stream. This was incredible. This is a natural one. Oh. For those of you who don't know, Josh Glover, he is actually a longtime friend of mine. I've known him since high school. We've done a lot of gaming together. Yes, that is a nose. Well, that's what you're putting on my nose. But the story that he's referencing here, tell them about Kieran getting shot by a cannon. So this was back when we were playing 2nd edition, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. The legendary land of calculating out THAC0, which is to hit armor class 0. Absolutely awful. I mean, it was fun, but it was as much fun because of the group of friends that we had playing at the time. I mean, anything's good with friends, but 2nd edition was rough. Anyways, the story. Kieran was one of my first ever Dungeons & Dragons characters. Human warrior. I just kept cranking up his strength, although the rest of his stats weren't bad. I ended up joining in the middle of this campaign. It's a level 7 character, and the two friends that I had playing with me were a guy named Jesse Corville and, of course, Josh, and then Matt Eater. He was our DM at the time. And we get into this town, and Josh is playing this elf fighter. Don't remember his name. Can't recall it right off the top of my head. What I do remember about him, though, was that he had a sword named Tylenol, because he cured a lot of headaches with it, quite in the permanent sort of fashion. And then Jesse also was running a fighter who was dual classed as a mage. Well, anyways, this character, Raph, that was his name, Raph. Elven fighter Raph with the sword Tylenol. Red Crazy Fire, that's right. Oh my god, how could I forget these names? Raph and Red Crazy Fire. Well, anyways, don't quite remember how things started, but of course, a brawl got started in the tavern. Things escalated. Town guard showed up, and well, Red Crazy Fire lived up to his name by throwing down a portable hole and then dumping out a cannon. So he dumps out this goddamn cannon. He loads it, gets it ready to go while Raph is killing off the city guard. And Kieran goes running in to help put down these ruffians that had lit fire to the inn and were destroying everything. And as he goes running into this burning tavern, door kicks open, and Red just lights the fuse, and boom! Critical hit, blasts my character back out about 30 yards up the street. Oh, goodness. We don't want to hurt anybody's ears, little one. So, my character's lying out in the middle of the street, plate armor destroyed, just chest caved in, it's a bloody mess, laying there bleeding out. Raph and Red come out and they go, "Oh, this is the guy that helped us earlier. Should we help him? What do you think?" These potions are expensive. Kieran's lying there just gurgling, choking on blood, and they go, "Wow. I mean, he survived a shot from a cannon. It's almost worth something right there. That's pretty goddamn funny." So they pour a potion down my throat, and they bring Kieran just teetering at that edge of staying alive. 1 hit point. That's all I had left after they healed me. And then they just kind of tossed me in the back of a cart, and no, it wasn't a cart. They dumped me down the portable hole with the cannon, and then drug me out of town that way. That was the start of some crazy adventures. A lot of good adventures, too. Let's see. It's another good story. They were nice villains. Yes, very nice. Very helpful. Dispensing cannon shot and health potions in equal measure. If you can call that equal measure. Oh. But as far as other great stories go, probably my favorite was, one of my favorites, again, involves Josh and actually his brother Jeremy. Now, his brother was playing this Elven Ranger, and Josh was playing this wizard named Oz, Wizard of Oz. Easy joke, but it was fun. Full name was Ozden, actually, but they were dealing with this cult of demon worshippers. They're actually dealing with 2 separate cults that were fighting with one another. The Order of the Golden Spear, dedicated to Mammon, Devil Lord of Greed, ruler of the third plane of hell. Anyways, and the other cult was the cult of the Six-Finger Hand, which is the cult of Grozd, demon lord of lust, pleasure, perversion, all those wonderful, awful things. Well, they'd received this package, and Jeremy's ranger just goes, "No, I'm not opening it. I'm not touching it. I'm not even going to read who it's from. I'm just going to sit here and wait for somebody to help me mage hand this thing up, and we're going to take it to the tower to be secured, studied, make sure it's dissected, and make sure it's not anything dangerous." And I went, "Damn, Jeremy, that's a level of thought from you that I don't usually see." He goes, "Yes, Jordan, that's because I played so much with you. This is why I'm suspicious of everything now, especially in a game like this." So the package gets brought back to the tower. The Rangers with them, half the party's gathered together. And Oz decides, "I'm a wizard. I know about this stuff. I'm going to look into it." Opens it up, sees this jade tablet in there, and he immediately starts reading it. You okay? You're all right. Thank you. Here. Mwah. There you go. So he immediately reads the tablet and triggers the spell that's hidden in the words and summons a Vrock. And this Vrock shows up and it starts tearing everything apart in this wizard's tower. It's this Mage's Collegium. It's a school for wizards of all stripes and sorcerers. And, well, he goes, "Oh no, I screwed up pretty bad. That's okay, I'll make it go away." Throws a fireball at it. Well, this Vrock that showed up actually had clothes, had robes, had different accoutrements and tools, and he lights it all on fire. The Vrock is takes almost no damage from the fire, and then it flies and picks him up in a grapple. And he goes, "Oh no, I made it worse. It didn't go away. Guys, help." And that's when I described to him, "You remember how I said it had clothes and such earlier?" He goes, "Yeah." "Well, it's on fire. It's now bear hugging you into its chest as everything burns. I'm going to have you give me a reflex save without your dexterity to see if you can avoid being caught on fire. You have a huge penalty here." And so he rolls. He, of course, fails, and now he's flying through the air in the hands of this Vrock on fire, about to get dropped. And there's not a whole... He can't pass any of his concentration checks to cast any of his spells. And it was only through the rest of the party working together that they actually managed to bring it down. They used reverse gravity, and the Vrock ended up flying straight into the ground, dealing damage to both it and Oz. And then they just kept pouring gunshots, arrows. The ranger ran up and started beating the shit out of it with his sword. And they finally managed to get the Vrock just sent screaming back down to the depths of the abyss. And it was a wonderful encounter, wonderful moment, because, of course, it's the wizard who's cocky and overconfident and goes, "I know all about magical things. I can tell if there's anything magical here." Doesn't cast Detect Magic first. No, he just cracks open the box without a care in the world and then starts reading the tablet before doing anything else. Really walked himself into that one. Warmest hug I've ever had. Yes, it is. Yes, it was. Another question here. The perks of initiating grapple versus bosses. Well, that just depends on the boss that you're initiating grapple with. If it's a boss that can't grapple, well, then you grapple and you're in a fairly dominant position. And especially if it's a wizard of any sort, then, the wizard's probably kind of screwed. But, there's always ways around things. But that does remind me of another story, though, from a D20 Modern game. Now, this is one that Jesse had been running for, since high school. And it's a story that started off, really wonky, very power gamey, lots of broken stuff, and not a whole lot of paying attention to all the rules in their finest detail. But, again, it was high school. Well, we were playing these mercenary characters. They worked for a paramilitary corporation, and in this particular version of Earth, things had really turned upside down in the worst way possible. The Second American Civil War happened, the European Union dissolved, India and Pakistan nuked each other, Japan decided to surge forward and try to rebuild its empire, China's a mess, Africa is a mess, everything just went really bad. The newly revitalized United States ended up having Canada join it, and that got divided up into states, and then they started annexing Mexico. Lots of stuff happened, is what I'm saying. But we're playing these mercenary characters, and we're tracking down the big bad that's been going for almost a year at this point. A guy named General Stone, one of the last generals from the old United States, and he still had a strong enough power base. He got away with a whole battalion of troops looting as much gear as they could. They actually tore through the banks in New York and looted as much money and gold and whatever resources they could. They went through the museums, stole artifacts, artwork, everything to finance their campaign of terror that they were going to undertake against the new government that had arisen. Well, we track him down. After undoing plot after plot, destroying all of his resources, we track him down to Russia in this high-rise. And it's this dramatic, almost poetic scene. It's cinematic. That's the style that Jesse had going for him. Very well, I might add. It was just very movie-like. Very cinematic in that quality. And he'd get the music going and playing, and he had this quiet, somber music going as we cornerstone in this apartment. I should mention also, magic's real in this setting as well. Lots of things happened. Well, my character is wearing a cloak of invisibility and slipped in quietly behind Oz, another Oz. His name was Austin, but we called him Oz because, of course, we did. It was Josh's character. All of his characters are Oz in some fashion. So, he has this dramatic back and forth exchange and conversation with General Stone. Just, how things are going to go. Oh, and basically, this is where Stone is going to die. There's no way out this time. Well, Stone basically just says, well, if I'm going to go out, might as well go down swinging, and injects himself with this serum that basically makes him rage out. He roids out. Think like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He just hulks out after he injects this serum into himself. Well, I grappled him. I grappled him as he had a surprise round to grapple, or to inject himself, but I was also able to act in that surprise round because I had told the DM, I'm ready. I'm standing here ready to go. And so I grappled him. My character was a grappling martial arts, close combat expert kind of a character. And, well, things got interesting because I initiated the grapple from behind. I'm fixing a homunculus, if you're wondering what I'm doing. But I grappled him from behind, so I had him in a rear naked choke, but because he injected himself with the serum, he is going from medium size to large size. And things are going bad pretty fast. And, well, I came in second for initiative. No, I came in third for initiative because it was Austin, Stone, and then me. Well, Austin uses his round to fire a dart into my character. What's this? Why did he fire a dart into my character? Well, this was the same kind of serum that Stone was injecting himself with. So I end up shooting up to large size as well. So now the grapple's a little bit more even again. Actually, very much so in my favor. So, it's on Stone's turn. Jesse says, well, he's jumping right out the window with you. He's jumping out the window? Yeah. Well, then I'm just going to let him go. Well, he's going with you. You're grappling. I said, yeah, but I grappled him from behind with a rear naked choke. If he's going to take a running jump out the window, I'm just going to let go and push him. And he goes, oh. Well, I guess make a grapple check for that. And so I rolled and I beat Stone. I beat Stone pretty readily. And, oh, here you go. Mwah. You okay? So I let him go. And this roided out, hulking American general goes diving out the window of this Russian high-rise. And he just looks back at me going, I can't believe you let me go. And he just falls 40 stories, hits the ground. He's laying there twitching, the regeneration factor's kicking in. But one of the other agents down at the ground, a guy named Craven, just looks down at him, looks up, looks back down, pulls out a Desert Eagle and double taps him in the skull. And bam, General Stone was gone in less than a round. A character who had been hounding us, causing horrible, horrific damage for over a year of gameplay, over a year of sessions. And he's just gone because Jesse misunderstood the situation of the grapple. It was fantastic. But in a way, kind of fitting. At least I thought it was. But let's see here. I've arrived. Clearly I win the sibling off. Ah, Weston. Yes. Brother of mine, also a fellow gamer. He's been a lot of fun as well. Has had some interesting characters over the years. Probably my favorite was his neutral evil halfling rogue. Absolutely a blast. Great times. And it's also a character I've referenced through a couple of my videos here. How's everybody doing out there? Everybody that's happened to join in. Let's see, I'm at 4 concurrent viewers. Yes. Epic winning right here. Absolutely, I'm clearly killing it at this. You're looking at the next PewDiePie. Oh god, I really hope not. I really don't want to be PewDiePie. That's not a comparison I want to invite for myself. But, I digress. So, any other questions out there? Any other stories you all might be interested in? Certainly, Josh Glover has been dominating in the comments. He's pulled ahead at a lightning pace. Oh. A broken necklace chain. Absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted, little one. Thank you. Oh, man. Well, I don't know that I can fix this one. Anyways. Well, for those of you who may not know, the story of this particular neutral evil halfling rogue was, it started off in an interesting fashion. I had all the players in my group that night. It was myself running the game, my brother Weston, cousin David, and my cousin Jeremy. Now, my cousin Jeremy had made a half-orc barbarian. David had made a human sorcerer, and of course, this neutral evil halfling rogue was made by my brother. And what I had everybody do, just to kind of start fleshing out the characters as they're writing them up, I had told them, think about your character's personality and traits, not like traits that necessarily affect gameplay or anything like that.
I'm stuck.
You're not stuck, little one. You're okay. Well, anyways, just one moment. I'll keep talking here. I asked them all to go ahead and think about 3 positive traits for their characters, and then 1 negative. They could come up with more traits than that if they wanted, but to keep that general ratio. If they wanted to have more positive traits, they needed to come up with more negative. Well, Weston decided to come up with almost exclusively more negative traits. Now, one of the first positive traits he put down was he was very confident, a very confident character, and very hard to intimidate. He was hard to intimidate based off of his skills. He stacked his skills very nicely for a rogue. And another negative was one of the negatives was he's bad at money, absolutely horrendously terrible with money, because he's never had a problem stealing more. And then also he's just almost pathologically mischievous. He has to cause problems. He has to insert a little bit of chaos into things for his own amusement. Sometimes it's not even for his own amusement. It is just because. And the list kind of kept going. Well, to give you an idea, they started off near the town market, or near the city market, rather. They're in the Corvarian Empire, Corvair City, at the main market district, not far from the main entrance through the walls of the city. And this little halfling goes along, and he sees this merchant seems to be doing fairly well, so he decides he's going to steal from him. He makes his check, nails it, and steals a good-sized sack of coins from the guy. Well, the barbarian's walking through, and so is the sorcerer. And the barbarian is this huge, hulking figure. I mean, it's a half-orc barbarian, and my cousin played to the archetype, has this huge strength score. And he decides that the rogue, that is, the halfling rogue, decides that this is too boring. This is far too mundane. Everybody is just enjoying the sights, the smells. There's so many different foods, spices, different goods on display everywhere from all regions across the continent and also from off the continent, because the city is a coastal city. It has very industrious trade routes coming through the ports. So he decides he's going to have a little bit of fun here. He did just get this sack of coins, but you know what? This is a better use for it. And he yells, "Make it rain!" as he throws the bag in the air. Now, the merchant had realized he'd been stolen from, was trying to figure it out, and then seeing all the coins go flying everywhere, people start squabbling for the coins, just going through this market in almost a small rolling riot that's getting started, and people are swinging. Well, one of them takes a swing at the barbarian. The barbarian saw what was happening and got ready for the fight, and so he ducked the blow and then shouldered his way forward. He had his axe on his back, and he brought the axe blade down on the person who punched at him on his hand, so it split into his hand a little bit there. And the rogue just starts laughing and cackling as this half orc is just laying people out left and right, stacked about 5 bodies in front of him, just dropping them one right after another. Well, they all take off before things get too bad. The sorcerer had already left. None of them know each other. They just see all these problems happening, and just after they had their fun, they just booked it. And they meet up at a tavern. And at the tavern, well, of course, the rogue can't help himself and just keeps continuously getting the barbarian into fights. This big ass half orc just beating the ever-loving daylights out of everybody. God, it was a good session. Ended on a good note, too. They ultimately ended up pulling a heist, raiding this warehouse, and they stole these different crates that had just recently been recovered from a group of bandits that had been hitting caravans coming from and going to Three Tusk Hold, leaving through the Corvair city. And they get all these crates finally back onto the boat. And the barbarian leaves with the captain. They go have a little bit of quality time to themselves. The elven pirate captain made comments about letting the orc wear her like a beard, something to that effect. And then as the crates are being taken down below decks, the crew slips and they drop one of the crates. And the manifest had said, it's supposed to be things like different iron ingots, different ores and stuff, some unrefined things, some silver, stuff like that. It's definitely valuable stuff and stuff that they can quickly and easily offload in other ports. But this crate that gets cracked open was loaded with platinum. And everybody just gets on edge for a moment, looks at this pile of riches just spilling out from this massive crate. And then they all look up, and they look up at the sorcerer and the rogue. And the sorcerer goes, "Now wait, everybody, this just means we're all coming out way farther ahead than we thought. There's no need to start getting any ideas here. We can all still come out of this very rich without anybody dying. Hey, buddy, you're ready to back me up, right? Right?" And all the sorcerer hears is just the rogues giggling, just as he melds his way back into the shadows and gets out of sight really damn fast. And that's where that session had ended off. I can't call it a campaign. But it was good times. They're always good times. It's why we play these games. It's always a blast. Even the moments that are just spectacular failures where sessions just crash and burn, really, you look back at it and you still get some good stories out of it. Right, little one? Aw. You okay, Nora? You getting a little fussy? You say hi? You wave?
Hi.
Yeah, there's us on there. There's also other people watching us.
Daddy.
Yeah, that is Daddy on there. And Nora. Life of a parent. Honestly, probably one of the better decisions I've ever made. This one is awesome. She's definitely very much into her princess phase right now, which I actually don't mind. I encourage it highly. But the great thing is when I start doing my own training, whether it's with my training swords, punching or kicking, she gets right into it, and oh my god, she has hurt me in some interesting ways now. She's not even 3 years old yet. Yeah, that's your Minnie Mouse. You got her wrapped up in a blanket?
Pizzas.
Ah, 5 concurrent viewers, 1 like, Man, I am rocking it here. I thought I couldn't top myself at all at four viewers. Now 5. Yeah, a coaster and a Minnie Mouse. This is quite the interesting spell you're working up here, little one. Makes very good use of her various homunculi for whatever it is she's doing, and acts out and plans out various scenarios very meticulously. It's interesting watching her mind at work, honestly. Ah, yes, my sign. I forgot to turn it on. Not that it's very bright. Ah. Well then. Whoa. It's very pretty. Ah. So then. Any other thoughts, questions, ideas, snide remarks, lambasting comments? Feel free to make them. Poor Edgar. Oh yeah, Edgar was one of the NPCs that the halfling rogue had pit against the half-orc barbarian. Lots of very, very crude, mean language, as I recall. But I also decided to ramp up Edgar's NPC status a little bit. Gave him a very high constitution. Big old farm boy kind of dude. And yeah, that was fun. Ah, you found pliers. Where did you find pliers?
Welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes.
Wow. This was nice.
So Josh comments in from Rachel. Hello, Rachel. How is Yoda a Sith Lord? Okay, so this is an idea and a theory that I've been bouncing around in my head for a long time now. A couple of years, actually. I don't know that I'd go so far as to call Yoda a Sith Lord, but everything in the prequel trilogy, Episode 1, 2, and 3, all the bad stuff that happens it's absolutely Yoda's fault. It's Yoda's fault. Now, this is a theory that I just have fun with, more or less, because I'm sure people can come up with plenty of information to just absolutely shoot it down. But Yoda is responsible for the downfall of the Jedi and the downfall of the Republic. And it has to do with how long-lived he is. Now, his long life makes him an incredible Jedi Master, incredible duelist with the lightsaber, powerfully knowledgeable in the Force, and oh my goodness, the sign is coming down. And also lots of experience, lots of wisdom. All these things. These are incredibly important things to have. But think about how set in our ways human beings get. I mean, take a look at any human leaders throughout history. Once we get to, 60, 70, 80 years old, people just naturally start to lose touch with where current generations are at, with how things progress and change. So Yoda leading the Jedi for, I was looking it up on Wikipedia. He became Grand Master of the Jedi Order sometime between his 696th year and his 804th, 806th, somewhere in there. So he becomes Grand Master and is leading for at least a couple of centuries. Well, 80 years to a century, give a couple of centuries, give or take. That's a long time for him to be a leader. And when when a Jedi becomes Grand Master, they directly have a hand in teaching the younglings, all the new initiates to the Jedi Order. But before that, he was also a master on the council, and he became a master at 100 years old. So for at least 500 years or so, he's been teaching other Jedi. He's been teaching and raising other Jedi, and so he's passing on his lessons and influences to them.
Are you not grabbing things?
1 second, folks.
No point now.
back now. So he's been training Jedi for at least 500 years. That passing on his wisdom, his experience, and also his influence, advancing them along, and essentially leaving his own thought processes on things. So just the length of time that he's been leading, the fact that he's teaching all these Jedi, teaching them to think like him, teaching him all these different ways of approaching things, how he would approach things, it creates a self-reinforcing kind of group, its own little echo chamber. And my other example for this is Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan's master in Episode 1. One of the lines that Obi-Wan has for Qui-Gon Jinn is, Master, you would be on the Jedi Council if you would just listen to them. Meaning Qui-Gon should be further along in his career as a Jedi, but he's not. And it's because he does not agree with how the Jedi approach things, how they do things. Or at least he doesn't agree with them all the time. And so he's breaking away from their traditions. It means he's a little bit more radical in his mindset than the other Jedi are. And so they keep sending him out on these different missions far away. So, that's not all of it, but my thoughts aren't quite all collected on that. I think I'm going to have to actually put together some kind of a script and get some ideas in mind. But it is just about bedtime for this little one here, so I'm going to start winding her down. We're going to go ahead and call it here. This isn't a bad first stream, so I'm going to go ahead and end it now. Thank you all so much for joining me here. I appreciate your time. You all have yourselves a good night, and thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.